Hey everyone, I'm back. It's been a while. I know we've just been trying to clean up after the holidays and whatnot, and slightly weird things have been happening in my house. I can't say if all of it is paranormal, and actually, I don't think any of it is. Um, I was downstairs in the basement tonight, and it was a little weird, but we had a apartment built for my nanny when she lived here, who is also my grandmother, but she likes to be called Nanny. It's just really crazy. And weird sounds have been happening, but I really want to say they're from outside, but I really don't know. And the house is 25 years old, so. Anyway, with all the stuff going on in Savannah, you would think that that there's not much more to tell. Well, be prepared to be scared. No, Willink House is an outliner in Savannah. It's not a large and extravagant mansion. There's no Orient architecture. The small white cottage looks more like a home in Cape Cod than deep south. Yet, this cute little house packs some interesting secrets. The house was once home to the influential shipbuilder Henry Willink, who built some of the Confederacy's largest, but not always functional ironical ships. During the Civil War, Willink Company built the CSS Georgia, which was scoffed off at many, as it was too clunky to put into a real fight, despite being armed to the teeth. The CSS Savannah didn't fare much better, even though the mistakes some Willink proposed. He worked hard after losing his wife when she fell into an ocean at his shipyard. Willink often saw her go small at home, prompting him to randomly storm out of his house and run off to work. Her thoughts still haunt the Willink's house to this day, as does the spirit of Henry Willink. Neighbors say that they hear the sound of a door slamming shut, along with Henry Willink's phantom footsteps, as the snow takes toward the shipyard in the dead of night. That's not all that hides in the Willink house. Annie. Rumor has it that the house was once used to candlelight school for free and enslaved children. To gain an education as the slave owner feared that the higher learning came with the possibility of revelation. The kids were rewarded with candy, helping motivate them to study. Eventually, the school was discovered, and the teacher was forced to flee Savannah. Most of the school children still inhabit the building, and some say they have seen candy hidden in different areas around the house. Willink was born to a German immigrant named Frederick William, a merchant who has done well by working until becoming wealthy. Willink had a shipyard, and his son Henry followed in his footsteps. Henry left for New York to learn the tools from the trade, and returned to Savannah in 1851. Ready to open his own shipyard, Willink had his house built upon his arrival to the city, and possibly even before. As records indicate, the house was dated as early as 1845. Henry went into business with his company, Arthur Miller. They named their company Willink and Miller, and also worked building large ships. The two became widely successful, so much so that the Confederacy contracted them to build their ironic land during the Civil War. The Confederates relied on the European shipyards to have their largest gunboats built, and so needed a domestic shipyard to build ships that could hold their own against the Union. Willink and Miller were sure they could deliver, except they didn't. The first risk to the Confederates was the CSS Georgia, also known as the Ladies' Gunboat. A whopping 115,000 equal over 1.8 million today. One would expect the first captive. Unfortunately, the Confederates, the vessel was a clunky mess. The CSS Georgia was so dense with armor and artillery that in fact wasn't practical. They attracted the ire of the public when the ship was seen sailing down the Savannah River. The company launched a PR campaign as damage control, claiming that the ship was meant to function as a floating battery and not a warship. Nobody was buying it. Deep in the nightmare of their failure, Willink and Miller were already working on the second Iron Line ship for the Confederacy. And by the way, I know I'm probably saying that wrong, and I apologize for that. This time, they were poised to learn from the mistakes of their last project, but they didn't. The CSS Savannah didn't do much better. Like its predecessor, it was large, clunky, and difficult to maneuver down the narrow and winding river from the Gulf of Georgia. And God forbid you were called to man the Savannah. The interior was hot, humid, and it leaked. Crew members complained that being inside the ship was like standing dead center in the middle of a swamp. The CSS Savannah did provide some use to the Confederates, but they took the ship themselves in 1864. Presumably to save space in the case that the Union forces captured the ship and hoped for something useful. Both the Georgia and Savannah were both destroyed near the old Fort Jackson to prevent capture. The love Henry had for his wife was building the fort behind much of its success, but for Mr. Willink, it would be Henry's passion for his work that would be her undoing. Henry loved his career as much as his wife, and he desperately wanted her to see what he spent so much time working on, so he asked her to take a trip to the shipyard with him. She agreed, always eager to spend time with her husband. After arriving at the shipyard, things were going well. Henry placed his wife before around the premise. Suddenly, while climbing a flight of stairs, Mrs. Willink tripped and fell over the side of the railing, falling into the Savannah River. Henry rushed to save her, but didn't make it in time. Mrs. Willink was hurt, and heavy dress weighed her down, and she was unable to swim to safety. He drowned as he fought against the current, making Henry the Henry Willink devastated and alone. In the coming years, Henry worked even harder as he tried to forget the death of his wife. He often saw her out in the middle of the night. He would often run out of his house, slamming the door behind him as he ran to the shipyard. One night he saw his wife's ghost again, this time at the yard. He hovered past the rail when she fell. He reached out to touch her and fell over the rail into the river, just as his wife had a few years earlier. Nearly suffering from the same fate, Willink was able to push himself to safety. Today, the spirit of Henry lives on. Neighbors say they still hear the sound of Henry Willink running off to work in the dead of night, hearing the door slam shut and his phantom footsteps running off. Even when the house is empty. The ghost of Mrs. Willink is said to be in the house as well. No, since the Willink house is privately owned, nobody has actually seen her apparition. Sometimes, Henry Willink told the home for the West Indies, systematic and black paint caused their hope for freedom. Mrs. Denvu began using her home as a sacred school for black children. She taught math and reading, and motivated the kids to learn by offering them candy if they got correct answers. These schools were illegal, education is elevated, and wealthy landowners didn't want to run the risk of relegation from an educational populace. Mrs. Denver was running a huge risk if she were to be caught. Eventually, she was found out and forced to leave Savannah. They didn't know what happened to the children, but they can say that Pomerlee suffered a fate worse than Mrs. DeVue. Though the location of DeVue School is disputed, they have seen the spirit that goes from the school spirit in the Willink house. The apparitions of the studious children have been seen around the house. Pieces of candy have also been found in random places. Some Chinese see candy to non-funded day when studying and at the Denver school, so much that the spirit refused to leave. Thank you for watching my channel and video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, I am Haunting Girl, and this is my channel. I'll spook you later. Until next time, pleasant dreams.